So in today's video, I want to talk about what could potentially be a little bit of a controversial subject in the world of landscape photography at least, and that is, should we actually be leaving our vibration reduction or image stabilization on our lenses? Should we be leaving that feature on occasion when we've got our cameras mounted on top of our tripod? So today I want to do a little bit of an experiment of that very subject, so come with me. So, of course, welcome back to the channel, guys, and thank you so much for tuning in. Always massively appreciated. Now, before we get into this video, which I think is going to be quite interesting, let me show you this. The Canon M50. There we go. I'll just show you this quick video. We've got a new lens. Fortunately, it was the lens that broke. If anyone didn't see my last video, the camera took a tumble, my video camera, and the lens got permanently damaged. There was actually a big crack on the lens itself, which kind of explained everything. I looked on Amazon, brand new for this lens, 15 to 45mm was 250 quid. I was thinking, oh man, what a hit, rotten. Found one on eBay for 71 quid, free postage and packaging. Living the dream, unreal, and it came within like 2 days, so I was proper buzzing, honestly. So all is well with the video camera. Now anyway, let's get into the topic of today's video. The last vlog that I released, hopefully a lot of you will have seen it, but to try and keep it as concise as possible, I was talking all about mistakes to avoid when we're out with our cameras using tripods very specifically. And one of those tips was this: when you put your camera on a tripod, remember that it doesn't make it immune to shake from the wind. Alright, it's not invincible because it's up there on a tripod. My way of getting around that, of combating against that wind shake, was to increase the ISO so that we could increase the shutter speed, which would basically negate that wind shake, which has always worked for me, and I'll continue to do that, and it's definitely really good advice that I have read in the past. Works for me. Now this is where it gets interesting. Several of you guys commented on the video saying, actually what you found or what you've read, you might have just heard speculation about this, is you can actually leave the vibration reduction or image stabilization, whatever it's called on your camera. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to call it vibration reduction because I shoot with Nikon, but you know what I mean when I say it. You should actually leave that feature on when you've got your camera on a tripod and the wind is shaking your camera all over the place. I found this well interesting because that goes against all the advice that's in, like, a couple of people even said, you know, and they're right, it's in camera manuals and everything. And I was thinking, surely not, like, but I'm going to actually read out all of, or at least a little bit of a comment from a certain bloke. So 1 second, please. Okay, so firstly, I want to say thank you so much to all of you guys that commented on that video and just getting involved in the community. That's what this is all about, you know. I'm not a perfect photographer by any means. There's millions of photographers, amateur photographers out there that are way better than me. I learned so much from you guys. You are my inspiration at the end of the day. You've inspired me to make this video, and hopefully we can help other people. And I'm going to benefit from this as well, so this is class. So this is from a bloke called Brian Parr, so thank you so much for this, Brian, which was one of the earlier comments and what got me thinking. And he just said, when you're using a longer focal length in windy conditions, this is where I would go against all perceived wisdom and switch on vibration reduction. Your camera cannot tell the difference between shake due to unsteady hands or environmentally induced. So your camera being blown all over the shot by the wind, in layman's terms. And that made me think, he's dead right. Of course, your camera doesn't know, well, your lens doesn't know that it's on a tripod, does it? If it's shaking, it's shaking. There's still vibration. It's trying to reduce that vibration. So again, thank you all so much. And I just want to do a little bit of an experiment today. I'm not really bothered about the photography, which is very unlike me on this channel, but hopefully you'll get some value for this. So what I'm going to do, find something to photograph, and then I'm actually going to take the images home to compare them and basically see if this works. Can we use vibration reduction when we're on a tripod, but the camera is shaking and we're getting a slower shutter speed? Interesting stuff. So first things first, let's find something to photograph. Alright, so we're set up. Actually, ridiculously, one thing I didn't mention, I should have said this from the start, we have got wind today. I cannot believe I didn't say anything about that, which is what we want for the purposes of this little experiment. Now, I found a composition. Again, it's not really about the photographs today, it's about this kind of little technical experiment, but we've got this, let's have a look, him there, little building, so it's a pier that jits out into Morecambe Bay, and I'm zoomed in at 300mm with the long lens obviously, right in on this building, so it's going to be a consistent subject throughout these 3 images. I'm going to take 3 photographs here of exactly the same subject. Composition should be pretty much exactly the same, that's the whole point. Now it's really important to mention here, this isn't a scientifically proven experiment. I'm just outside the gaff doing this little experiment for myself. I thought I'd bring you along with me. I know you're interested in this sort of stuff. I say the wind's consistent, it's probably not. You know, if you really get down to the nitty gritty, this is probably not a fair experiment between the 3 images, but I don't really care. This is something I thought is quite interesting. This is going to tell me what I want to know pretty much. I'm going to feel comfortable with this. So take it with a pinch of salt. You know, what I would advise is go out with your own cameras or your own lenses and do the same experiment. I think, you know, what might work with one of my lenses might not work with yours. For example, like, I don't know if Canon's image stabilization is going to work in the same way that Nikon's vibration reduction does. So again, it's not conclusive, but it's just interesting. So 3 images, and I've tried to stay consistent, as consistent as possible. So first image, ISO 100, f11 and 1/15 of a second, and that was with vibration reduction turned off. That's a slow shutter speed. There's no way I'd shoot with that if I knew the camera was shaking usually. I know already that this image is going to be blurry, alright? But I've took it anyway. Second image was taken like half a second after that one. Exactly the same settings. ISO 100, 1/15 of a second, and f11, but with vibration reduction turned on. So that's the experimental image really. And then I've took one more, which was, I guess, what I sort of recommended last week. This is what I always do. Reluctantly increase the ISO so I can increase that shutter speed to, again, combat against that wind shake. A nice quick shutter speed to freeze the frame, all right? f11, same aperture, ISO 2000, and that's getting me 1/320th of a second. My expectation here, without knowing anything yet, is that the one with the higher ISO is going to be the most usable image. It's going to be the sharpest. Even with the increased ISO, probably going to get a little bit of noise. My hope is that the vibration reduction one, the one with vibration reduction turned on but slowest shutter speed, is going to be really sharp. That would be class. The technology's there on the lens, you know, why not use it? But I'm going to take it home and we'll have a little look. So yeah, fairly consistent. Again, it's not going to be conclusive, just a little experiment. So let's get him back on the computer and have a little comparison. Alright, we are back. I just got caught in a rainstorm on the way back. The jacket is drenched. Tell you what, let's get it off. We're back indoors now, safe and sound, and we have got the memory card with the 3 images on. So let's get them open up into Lightroom now, and this shouldn't take too long. You know, we're not editing the photographs or anything, we're just comparing them. So I'll import them in now and show you my screen. Alright, so there we go. We've got the 3 images uploaded into Lightroom, and again, it's just a comparison. So what I've done is I've just renamed them. So this one here, let's have a quick look now, shall we? This one here is called VR off. This next one is VR on, and the final one is called high ISO, high shutter speed. I mean, come on, you can see straight away. There's no point in even going into the details really, is there? What I do want to do is compare the VR on and VR off. I will compare all of them, to be fair. So we'll select them two and let's get the old X and Y up. So, yeah, I'd say that's a pretty decent difference actually. I mean, it's still blurry enough, but I mean, if you look at these smaller details, I mean, even look at the lamppost there in the background. It's a little bit better, you know, with the VR on, which I guess is to be expected. And remember, this is the same settings: ISO 100, 300mm, f11, 1/15 of a second. You can see it up in the top there, but it's just with the VR on. So yeah, I guess you could say sharpness is a little bit better. But then of course, there we go. That is a comparison between VR off and with the high ISO and high shutter. You can probably see zoomed in here. This doesn't bother me in the slightest. You can probably see on the right hand side one here, high ISO, high shutter. There's probably a little bit of noise zoomed in, when you zoomed in this far. Bearing in mind this is at ISO 2000 on a crop sensor camera. It's negligible, isn't it? I mean, look at that difference. It's ridiculous. And then if we compare the VR on with the high shutter, high ISO, yeah, again, you can see already without having to zoom in or anything. It's so much better. So, again, you know, I'll say this isn't conclusive. This is just a little experiment with my equipment, with my gear. I've just been interested in this. But to me, it seems almost like a no-brainer. And going forward, I'm not saying you should do this as well, but I'm gonna stick with the high ISO, high shutter, because I always know I can be confident to get decent amount of sharpness. I ain't bothered if a little bit of noise starts creeping into the image, because I mean, look at it. It's like there's not really that much. I mean, you can see it there, but you know, there if you look off in the background. I don't care. You know, if I had to choose between left or right there, you know, I mean, why would you pick the left one? It's blurry. But very, very interesting. And once again, I'd like to say thank you for several of you guys for all of you bringing it up. And please note here, this isn't something I've done to try and prove people wrong. Like I've said throughout this video, I wanted the VR on image to be the best. That would have been better for everybody, wouldn't it? It would have been, we wouldn't have to have put our ISOs up, but unfortunately, for me at least, it's not quite worked. But it's been an interesting experiment all the same. And I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Right, cup of tea is going straight down the esophagus. Thank you so much for watching. Comment below, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please as well, I always say this, if you have a quick second just to give the video a like, that would be fantastic. And of course, subscribe if you are new. Remember, just an experiment, this isn't conclusive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Out!